Have you ever been told to work on your weaknesses? Do you ever feel like there's times in life where you're told you're not good enough in this area and you need to improve that, so focus specifically on your weaknesses? Well, I want to tell you that may not be the best idea, and it may not be the best way to actually improve your life and get to a place of success, because we all have many things that we're not so good at. And there's a great idea of bringing the bottom up to a certain level of quality, right? So that we can work on our weaknesses, we can improve our overall life. But in doing so, we often neglect our strengths and we quit focusing on those, and we just start focusing on all these things we aren't so good at. And we put so much effort and energy into making the things that we're not great at a little bit better, when instead we could be magnifying our strengths. And you know, some of the most successful people in this life have realized their shortcomings, and they realize that they're not so good in so many areas, but they are incredibly good at these few things. And instead of focusing on their weaknesses, instead of listening to what the entire world tells them of work on that, if you're not good in that area, be better at it, improve in it, to say, you know what? I know where my strengths lie, and I'm going to put all of my energy, all of my focus, all of my effort into improving my strengths, into focusing on those and really driving those to the heights of what they can be. And when the successful people do that, when they just focus on what they're good at, they realize that they can excel in these areas so much, and they can then hire people to do the things that they're not very good at. And you know, it is a great idea to work on our weaknesses and to improve our overall life, but not at the neglect of our strengths, and not at the just leaving our strengths to sit where they're at and not improving those. That is the most important thing that you can do in your life to realize success, is focus on your strengths. And if you want to find some time to improve your weaknesses and focus on those areas too, that's great. But don't do this and neglect your strengths. You see, the people that have been often incredibly successful in life, they identify the things that they are best at, and they solely focus on those. And then they find ways to put other people into processes that can actually accent their strengths and improve their weaknesses at the same time, and do those things for them. And so, you know, the overall lesson that I want to leave you with is focus on your strengths. Find out what you're great at and make yourself incredible at those things. And then find ways to really just round off the weaknesses that you have by either leveraging other people or finding little bits of time and effort and energy to put towards that. But don't forget that your strengths are what are going to make you successful in the long run. And so I just want to leave you with that idea, is we often hear work on our weaknesses, but don't do that and neglect to work and to focus and to realize your strengths, because we'll work on our weaknesses and it'll often hold us back from ever going forward with the things that we're really good at, because we can get so busy down here, can't we, just working on our weaknesses. We'll never have the confidence to really tackle all of this stuff, because we'll start to work on our weaknesses and we'll realize that, man, I'm just no good in these areas, and I am terrible at this, and I'm not good at that, and I'm not so good at that. And so we put so much time and effort and focus on the things that we're not good at. And what tends to start happening is our self-esteem will lower and lower and lower and lower. Our self-confidence will just go to nothing, because we never see real gain and real progress in these areas. And of course we're building them and we're fixing them, but the real self-confidence and self-assurance and self-esteem comes from seeing our strengths. And when we know that we're so good at something, that actually trickles down to all other areas of our life. So if you're just focusing on the places that you're not very good at, you'll realize that your self-confidence and self-esteem start to just lower themselves, and you'll kind of get in a bad mood. You'll start to be more negative because you just don't see the results and the positive affirmation of what your strengths are. And so you want to make sure that you put your focus in life on your strengths, and then whatever is left over you put on your weaknesses. And you do want to build all areas of your life. I'm not saying that you should only be good at a few things. Although, you know, honestly, if you're just good at a few things and you focus your whole attention and effort on those, that's going to push you to success far more than trying to be an incredibly well-rounded person in every area of your life. So the rest is up to you. You know, how much effort and energy you want to put into your weaknesses is on you, but do it smartly, do it intelligently, knowing that your strengths are what's going to push you forward to your ultimate goals in life. And your weaknesses, That's just culture. That's just making you a better person overall. And that's a good thing to do, but don't do it at the expense of your strengths. And you know what? When you get really good at a few things and you can really just ride that train, that's when you can start to hire other people to focus on the weaknesses for you. Henry Ford was not a very good person in so many ways, but you know what? He knew exactly what he was good at, and he hired everybody else to do the other things that he didn't have a clue about. There was a time where he was brought into court, and the prosecution was saying that he was stupid, basically, and they started pounding him with all these questions of general knowledge. And he kind of laughed and looked at him and he said, you know what? I don't need to know that because I have enough people in my organization that I can go to and find that answer within a minute if I needed it. And that's a really cool thing. You know, Henry Ford didn't have a college education. He didn't even have a full high school education. But he was so good at what he did that he built this incredible company that revolutionized the world at the time. And he was able to implement people in his system, in his structure, and in his business that he could find out anything that he needed to know within a matter of minutes, because he was that good at what he did, and he was that good at putting people in positions to find knowledge for him. And so just think about that. What are your strengths? And then what are the weaknesses that everybody tells you should work on? Can you get by with not necessarily focusing on those and just focusing on your strengths? And then coming to a point in your life where you start to experience a lot of success in these areas, that you can then slowly put a little energy and effort into your weaknesses, or just find people that can complement you in those areas. Thanks for watching. I'm Makai Block with Limitless North. To find out more, would you subscribe to the channel? Would you watch some of the other videos? Would you leave a comment? Go ahead and give it a like and a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content of this video. Share it with some friends. I want to hear what you're struggling with. What are your weaknesses that everybody tells you should work on? Maybe together as this community, we can come up with ways to streamline that for you, to make it easier for you to improve in those areas. But even more importantly, what are your strengths? What are you really good at? And what are you going to focus on in 2017 that's going to propel you forward to that next stage of success and that next stage of life? I'm really excited to hear from you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this community, and I will see you on the next one.